Being present, I call this meeting to order. First items on the agenda are meeting minutes. They are for 6/21/2023 and 7/19/2023. Any discussion on those? If that's the case, could I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right. Next on the agenda is item A, request to extend an order of conditions. Robert Mercurio, 32 Moonlight Drive, Assessors Map 110, Lot 32, DEP file number 305-1125. Is there anybody here for that? Could you please come up and introduce yourselves? Yep.
Robert Mercurio.
So we just, I think the discussion last time where this is a request to extend an order of conditions, and we just want an update about, well, it's been a while since we've talked about this. So if you could just, a brief overview of the project so far and what you plan on doing.
Well, the idea was to construct an addition onto the house. It was going to be upper level on a garage, and also there's a front room that we were looking to extend a little bit larger. And that was, a few years ago, and it hasn't gone anywhere since then, a lot due to the pricing and everything, and kind of skyrocketed. So we're hopeful that this coming summer we'll be able to, apply for the building permit and begin that process and go forward with it. So there's just been that delay. And, fortunately, Joe reached out to me and told me the deadline was coming. I said, oh, okay, let's go and extend this.
So far, no work has been done. You haven't put up any erosion barriers or anything like that?
No, nothing.
But you fully intend to continue with this project?
We absolutely do.
All right.
Yeah.
Any discussion? All right. If that's the case, could I have a motion to extend this order of conditions for DP file number 305-1125?
This is a 3-year extension, by the way.
3-year extension?
Yeah.
I make that motion.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is B, request for certificate of compliance, New England Power Company M139/N140 transmission line row, DEP file number 305-1138. Could you please introduce yourself for the record?
I'm Marley Sullivan from BSC Group, here on behalf of New England Power Company.
And the floor is yours.
Yeah. So they completed the actual the subject project. And at that point, they're just waiting to complete the wetland mitigation associated with the project. There are a few foundations within wetlands. And it was replicated at a 1-to-2 ratio off of Power Company Road. They completed the wetland mitigation evaluation this year, and it already successfully achieved very, very dense revegetation, and shrub health within the wetland was very good, probably because of the excessive amount of rain this year. So they would like to request a certificate of compliance for the work. Now that the work is substantially complete, those areas have been restored, stabilized, revegetated, and the wetland mitigation has also met the expectations for revegetation and lack of invasive species. There are no invasive species within the wetland itself, even though the existing wetland adjacent to it does have some wetland or invasive species. Any questions?
Any questions or comments from the commission?
Joe, have you visited the site?
Yeah, so I did a site visit yesterday. The wetland replication area looks good. So it's actually right next to the wetland replication area for the project that was reviewed at the last one. So the only point of non-compliance for this request is that the wetland mitigation area, per the order of conditions, required 2 full years of monitoring, and there's only been 1. So that's the only point of non-compliance.
So, yeah, is there a reason why you're coming now and not next year?
So usually it does take a full 2 years to achieve revegetation. Usually with wetland mitigation areas, you don't have somebody going to the site and watering everything. So usually it does take the full 2 years to fully revegetate and get dense. But we've had an absurd amount of rain, and it's actually very lush. So we're lucky in that. And there's no reason to believe that it's going to go backwards in terms of revegetation. It's already meeting the expectations for the wetland replication area.
So as I was coordinating with Paul, I basically said, I don't doubt that the wetland replication area is going to do well and that it looks good and all that, but, I guess it can't hurt to just do another round of monitoring. So that'd be my recommendation, is just to wait another year and try to comply with the order as best as possible, but it's up to the commission.
I think that's
Yeah, that
that's
makes
what's
sense.
on paper.
Yeah,
I hate to say it, but I say we,
just to be consistent,
Yeah, I tend to agree.
agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really want to set too much of a precedent that, we cut down any other, plans of that sort, I guess.
If that is the case, like I told Paul, if the commission votes to continue, it could just be continued to just the December 2024 meeting. So that way you don't have to refile at least. You can just
I agree. I think that's a great,
Yeah.
right, and you'll come visit again, right? I know you're looking forward
That's what
to
all
it.
this is about.
I know.
It's one another visit.
New England Power Company, it's not the only time we've seen, them in front of us. So if
Yeah.
we can fit you in on one of the other projects, it might work out better. But yeah, all right. Anything else, or,
Yeah, I mean, if the commission wishes, then we would request the continuance so that we wouldn't have to refile
Yeah,
the
yeah,
request for
right.
certificate
Yeah,
of
definitely.
compliance. And provide additional photos showing the second growing season's worth of conditions.
so I will request a motion to continue this request for certificate of compliance to the next meeting, or not the next meeting, but the meeting,
First meeting in December,
first meeting of
November
December.
We only have
2024.
one, so.
Or,
We only have one, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
all right.
Or you want to go mid-November and give us a little buffer?
I was gonna say, let's go a little bit beyond that, just in case something doesn't work out.
well, we don't want them to have to refile, right?
So I
That's-
say, I say we go to the first meeting in November,
All right,
because we're beyond growing season.
Yeah.
all right. Could I have a motion to continue this meeting to the first meeting in November? Either one of you makes the motion.
Okay, I make a motion to move this to the first meeting
Yeah.
for the Conservation Commission in November of 2024.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
More air.
Agenda item C, request for certificate of compliance, Mark Harrison, 140 Helvetia Road, Assessors Map 60, Lot 11, DEP file number 305-1129. Is there anybody here for that? Not seeing anybody. Joe, do you have any information on this?
Yeah, so this is a request for a certificate of compliance. This was for a residential addition in riverfront area and in the buffer zone. They provided an as-built and a letter of substantial compliance from a Mass licensed surveyor. The surveyor noted some deviations, which were a small paved walkway from the proposed work to the backyard. I did a site visit today. It seemed minimal, so I didn't have any major concerns with it.
Yeah, it's a 4-foot walkway in the back and in the front.
Right.
And it seems like the majority of the walkway in the back is outside of the 50-foot no-build zone.
I did have a note to just check whether the fee was collected, so if you want to table this for the end of the meeting, I can check that.
All right.
Right.
Yep. Table it and go on to agenda item D. This is continued. So could I have a motion to continue to February 21st, 2024? Public hearing, abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for Norse Environmental Services, Inc. on behalf of Ivan Cormier Construction Corp., 1596 Andover Street, adjacent, Assessors Map 53, Lot 29, DB file number 305-1194. Could I have a motion to that effect?
I make that motion.
Can I just ask a question, Joe, about that letter from DEP?
Oh, yeah.
Why were they involved in this?
So basically, whenever someone submits a notice of intent under the Mass Wetland Protection Act and our bylaw, they're required to submit a copy of the notice of intent to the state. And so the state is, one, the person, or the entity that issues the DEP file number, and they also have an opportunity to provide comments if they see something as kind of more blatantly incorrect or not compliant. They don't really get down into the nitty-gritty typically, so sometimes they provide comments.
I was just wondering, like, why did they comment on this and not on the Main Street project that was,
I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason for that.
okay.
And for which Main Street project?
The one where we voted on whether it was an intermittent stream or a perennial stream?
I'm not sure if they provided comments, and if they did, I'm not sure if they, spoke on the intermittent stream versus perennials.
Because it seems like the same issue, that the data is just so old, and they didn't accept it in this case. I'm wondering why they accepted it in that case.
But if they make any comments, you instantly put it in our packets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, be interesting to, I'm not sure if we'll ever get an answer to that, but it'd be interesting to know what the fine line is between similar issues and stuff.
What was I going to say regarding that?
I mean, can we go back and ask them, or if they
Oh,
have an
so-
opinion on
so-
that, or?
I had a conversation with the analyst from Mass DEP prior to her issuing the comments, basically just talking about, the photos that were submitted and just the evidence that was presented to the commission to overturn the presumed perennial stream status. So we just had that conversation. There's a mutual understanding that the state regs don't supply that specific timeframe. So it's on one hand, the regulations don't provide a specific timeframe, but on the other hand, it's common sense kind of like you need some recent evidence to overturn that. But the applicants hang their hat on this one, which is a state regulation, and then typically municipal conservation commissions, kind of err on the side of the common sense aspect. So she understands it, but still, issued her comments as such.
Okay.
We're up to second.
Oh, I second. Sorry.
Just to be safe, I'm going to request the motion again to continue to to February 21st, 2024, public hearing, abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for Norse Environmental Services, Inc., on behalf of Ivan Cormier Construction Corp., 1596 Andover Street, adjacent, Assessors Map 53, Lot 29, DP file number 305-1194. Do I have a motion to that effect?
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right. This one is also going to be continued. Could I have a motion to continue to the February 2nd, 2024 meeting, public hearing, notice of intent, Civil Design Consultants, Inc., on behalf of Dr. Nitish Nahata, 1438 Main Street, Assessors Map 59, Lot 58, DP file number 305-1187.
So Dan, I was asking Joe about this graph that was submitted as part of this request, and there are numbers on there that pertain to rain events, 100 year, 50 year, 25 years, and I was just asking Joe where those numbers came from, because those numbers are not from NOAA. They're not the numbers that were used by Houghton Bugby last meeting that we had. So if we can just find out where those came from, because I think it's important to know that those are accurate, as they are an input into the rest of the calculation here on the capacity of the stormwater system.
So that would be on behalf of the applicant to provide that information, so.
Right,
Joe,
provide
yeah.
where they got that data
Yeah, so
from.
Joe, if you
Yeah,
could
where
reach
did those
out
numbers
just
come
to
from?
let them know.
This one keeps dragging along. Joe, are they in contact with you at all?
Yeah,
They made progress at the planning board, or?
so it's been continued for a while, then the applicant came in a few weeks ago to provide a general update. But the reason why it's been continued for so long is because there's some sort of impasse between the applicant and the HOA of Serena
residents?
Way right
Right.
down there.
Because I
So,
believe they came in with us, but
yeah,
it didn't seem like they were playing well together.
exactly.
So that's the drag on here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, they're claiming that the drainage is not working properly now, so it's even going to be worse. And I'm wondering, maybe they're miscalculating the drainage capacity. Like, where are they getting these numbers from?
Yeah,
There's
I
no
can check that.
reference, there's no citation.
I can check that.
All right, if there's no further discussion, could I have a motion to continue this to the February 7th, 2024 meeting?
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.
we're getting the hang of it, Dan.
It gets quick.
All right, so before I read this all out, is there any discussion on this continuance for the request to amend an order of conditions?
Wait a sec, give me a sec. Get back to this.
I had a-
And this is public hearing, request to amend an order of conditions, VHB Inc., on behalf of Dan Realty LLC, 1695 Shawshene Street, Assessors Map 113, Lot 22, DP file number 305-1183.
Yeah, if you just want to open the public, this is the first.
Yeah,
so-
oh, this is the first time they've?
Yeah, for this one.
All right, so yeah, the public hearing is now officially open. If anybody has any questions or comments, knowing that the applicant is not here, and we intend to continue this to the February meeting, and it will not be closed at this time. There's no discussion. Could I have a motion to continue to the February 7th, 2024 meeting?
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Agenda item G, public hearing, notice of intent, Civil Design Consultants, Inc., on behalf of L&G Main Street LLC, 1167, 1177, and 1187 Main Street, Assessors Map 61, lots 1, 105, and 107 respectively. DEP file number 305-1192. Could you please introduce yourself for the record?
Red, I believe.
Yeah, sorry. I was fooling around with it.
For the record, I'm Mira Cousins, Civil Design Consultants. Are we missing 2 commission members today?
Yes.
Okay. So this is our 3rd meeting for this project. Just wanted to give you guys a quick recap of where we stand today. So the first meeting we had was on October 18th. We kept that presentation solely focused on the stream status of Darby Brook that crosses through the site, whether it was intermittent or perennial. There was an agreement from this commission at the November 15th meeting that the stream within the B series wetland is intermittent, and we made revisions to our plans based on that agreement. We are calling the stream within the C series wetland a perennial stream, so that's the stream, if you can look here on this right over here. We're calling that a perennial stream, and we show the 200-foot riverfront area on the plans associated with that stream. So we submitted an updated NOI, which outlined the project's compliance with 310 CMR 10.585, which is the redevelopment within a previously developed riverfront area. The proposed work within the riverfront area results in an overall improvement over existing conditions. We're providing a 5% reduction in impervious area within the riverfront area. Additionally, we're proposing to remove 1,086 square feet of impervious area within the 25-foot no disturb zone of the A series wetland, and that's the wetland over here. And we're replacing it with native seed mix as well as native trees and shrubs. So I've added some native trees and shrubs within that 25-foot no disturb zone. We also added conservation posts along the 25-foot no disturb zone of the A series wetland, along with the existing tree line located at the southwest corner of the project area. So along here as well, we've added some posts. So we've addressed all the remaining comments from the town's peer review consultant, who reviewed the project to ensure we comply with the stormwater management standards. We got a clean letter from them on Friday of last week. And lastly, we got approval from the planning board on Monday of this week. So with that, happy to take any questions.
Any questions or comments from the commission?
I don't remember the agreement of perennial versus intermittent. There was an agreement? That was your verbiage, correct?
Yeah, the majority of the commission members, that's why I'm asking, these 2 people are missing, so I don't know if I should continue this or not. But it was
Yes.
3 of you who
we-
said that we took a straw vote or something,
Yeah.
right?
Right, but in my world, that's not an agreement.
The majority.
It was, right, it was a straw poll, correct?
So 3 out of the 5 agreed, so that's the majority. So I might want to continue this.
Sorry, this is a public hearing, but I haven't opened it up to the public. I will give you time, but right now, yeah. All right, so where were we?
So, sorry, so I think maybe in December, the December meeting, when everyone was present, or maybe even earlier than
November
that.
15th.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, we definitely focused on, like honing in on the regulation and stuff and determining whether the stream was perennial or intermittent. Basically, we wanted to make that determination so that the applicant can make the proper adjustments to their site plans. So that was correct, where there was a straw vote done, and yeah, it was a 3-2, and you can continue to vote however you think is fit. But that's what was done in February.
No, I remember it.
Okay.
Agreement is just not the word I would have used, that's all. I have no, planning board gave it the thumbs up.
Yes.
Yeah, I can.
Did you disconnect or did?
Nope, it's back.
Oh, all right. All right, so basically what it comes down to is, right now, I think there's a disagreement about the perennial stream still, and there not being all 5 members here. The last time we discussed this, we can continue it, or we could, I'll entertain any motion.
Yeah, I think too, we have new information now with that letter from DEP.
It's a
on the-
different letter, or it's a different applicant, different thing, but we do have new information from the state about how to,
What is acceptable.
what's an acceptable time period.
Yeah.
I didn't get that letter.
It's from a different applicant,
Different project.
different project.
Yep.
Okay,
So
did they have pictures for that project?
that's what's in question, is,
They did have pictures.
I just want to make sure we're comparing the same thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they had pictures, but they were from like 2017, and yours were from 2015, so they were even more recent than yours, and the state is not accepting that.
Is that right?
Yeah, so for a different project, we are running into this, or it's basically asking the Concom to determine whether a stream is perennial or intermittent. For that project, Mass DEP provided comments, basically something to the effect of, saying that, these pictures were provided 7 years ago. I can pull it up, actually.
Yeah,
Right, I
curious
think it
about
was
the date.
exactly what we had questioned,
Yeah,
age of the photos.
Yeah.
But now this comes from the E DEP.
I'm just trying to balance, it's a different project, and while I believe it's all
Same data.
Freedom of Information Act would
Right.
reveal this
Yeah,
information.
yeah, we shouldn't,
but
I mean, I
it's-
don't think we should
yeah.
share.
But what it comes down to is that somebody from the state said photos from 7 years ago is not sufficient.
So, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about a different project, but the language says the proponent should submit this proponent should submit new photographs documenting no flow on the site rather than relying on 7-year-old photos. So, I mean, yeah. That's the sentence in reference to the 7-year-old photos. And that's dated
What were
January.
the photos age when we talked about it? What was it, 15?
14 or 15?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about,
They were-
7 years old, around 7.
They were from 2015,
Yeah, so
so they were
we're
nine years old.
9 now, yeah. But I know the application was put in a year ago, so we'll go 8.
Yeah.
So according to the regulations, we meet that. It says shall, we've provided the photos. We didn't get that comment from DEP?
We saw the shall, but it gives us a little wiggle room on the, if we don't think the data is forthcoming and it's not accurate. And I think Linda and I both agree with the climate change and everything.
It was a very
It's-
different time.
So where does that leave us? I thought we had that all squared away at the last meeting.
So from my point of view, I guess as the chair, I don't, I would rather the full commission be here to discuss this.
Yeah.
So I would gladly entertain a motion to continue to the next meeting until we have a full quorum, and/or you can provide new information or update site plans. That's what I'm thinking, but
Okay.
it's before us right now, so.
Okay, I'd like to continue.
You'd like to continue? Do I have a motion to continue this to the next meeting?
Yep.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Agenda item H, public hearing. I'm sorry, I already continued that, and the public hearing is still open, but I just want to give you an opportunity, if you did want to, make any comments now, you can do it right now. The public hearing is not closed, but this will be continued to the next meeting, and there'll be further discussion on it in February. Yeah,
My name is Keith Bias, and I own property 1147 Main Street, which abuts this proposed development. My understanding with the last meeting, and I must have misunderstood, because I thought that you were given the instructions to civil design consultants to go back and say, what if? And then the vote that I never thought was taken. That's why I'm showing up now, because I thought it was still open. So I don't know if I misunderstood that or not. But that stream, those pitches were so old, and we're basing this whole thing on 4 pitches that we're taking, and I just don't think that's right, and they were old pitches. If they were done last year or the year before, that might be different, but, I mean, these were done, what, 8 years ago, 9 years ago? I mean, a lot of things have changed. I mean, we never had a river going by our building back then, which we have had this year. So, I mean, a lot of things are changing, and if you look at that, if you put that drawing back up there, if you look where McClellan Oil's tanks are, there was a huge concrete pad. I don't know when it was put in, maybe 20 years ago, but that covered up that whole area. So the solution was to take all of the runoff, and it goes through a culvert that comes out right next to our property and goes into that river. That was the solution. So we're just worried of more of the same. You know, I know they say that it'll take care of all the runoff, but it's not doing it now. So, you know, I just think it's going to get it worse, because they're going to be putting more there. The other thing is, on the other side, on the right side, if you look at the map, that all goes into the stormwater system now. That's not going to go in the stormwater system. I mean, the stuff it's going to keep coming in our area, instead of trying to work it so that this design goes into the stormwater system for the town. Anyway, those are my comments.
Thank you for those. Because I already continued this meeting, this discussion, I just want to make sure, I don't want to have any more discussion on this project until the next meeting, unless you, because, yeah. I don't want to have any further discussion from the commission.
My concern is what actually makes one intermittent and the other one perennial, because with the pipe that is going underneath McClellan Oil goes into that stream, so that makes it different, because you think there's not a flow, but the water is flowing into the stream and adding to the rise of the water. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, just by coincidence, I watch the weather constantly. I do believe, obviously, the rain and everything contributes it, but Cindy, the weather girl, Fitzgibbon mentioned, and I have it right here, snapshots from her page, talking about how the water in the rain has changed and how much rain we've gotten over the years. I have it here to show you. And how many inches versus 1972 to 2021. And so I do think that the climate has obviously a big, add into the water that's happening in the stream, in the rise between the two buildings. And like I said, McClellan Oil has a retaining wall, they're higher, we're lower. I think all of that contributes to the water. That's it. Did you want to see that, or should
I
I?
think we're all set because we're going to continue
Okay.
talking about
Okay.
this at the next meeting. But thank you for your comments.
And I just want to make clear that we are saying that the stream between McClellan Oil and their property is in fact perennial. Okay.
All right, moving on to Agenda Item H, Public Hearing, Notice of Intent, Civil Design Consultants, Inc., on behalf of First Street Residents LLC, 21st Street, Assessors Map 81, Lot 192, DP file number not yet assigned. Could you please introduce yourself for the record?
For the record, I'm Mira Cousins. So I don't think we have a DEP file number just yet, so we'll have to continue this, but I thought I'd provide you guys with a update on this project. So the last time I was here, there was concern from some of you regarding the proposal that included landscaping within the adjacent undeveloped right-of-way up to the center line. So the applicant's attorney provided a letter explaining the rights of an abutter to an undeveloped right-of-way according to Mass General Law. So hopefully with this letter, as well as the section in the Wetlands Protection Act that Joe had mentioned at the last meeting, hopefully that addresses your concerns.
The letter from the attorney, yeah, it basically.
So they own to midpoint of the paper road, correct?
Has rights,
Has rights.
yes.
It's not exactly the type of document I was expecting to see claiming exact ownership, but, I don't doubt that this is the way things work, so,
And this is based on the statute of Mass General Law?
yeah.
Okay.
But with there not being a DEP file number assigned yet, we can't decide anything right now.
Correct, I just kind of wanted to get your
Yeah.
feedback based on this new document that,
Yeah, and again, it's just seeing stuff happening on something that states it's not their property, but sort of states it's just throwing up some red flags, not to say that, we can't do anything, but that was the concern.
Right.
Right,
So,
we don't want to approve something that they don't own.
yeah,
Right.
and,
And this really doesn't say, it says it has rights. I'm not an attorney. That's
yeah, I,
on our scope.
my concern is, yeah, us approving something, making it seem like we endorse work on somebody else's property. My understanding is that we're not endorsing that. We're endorsing, they can work on property that they have the right to work on, so.
so I was mistaken. The last sentence here, it says, therefore, the title of the property includes ownership
All right,
of Delaware
Yes.
Road, as shown on the record plan. So my mistake, it's not rights, it says ownership.
all right. So, yeah, so even better argument, ownership
Yeah.
versus rights. All right, so because we don't have a DP file number, I'm going to,
I guess for, how does this, do you guys have feedback on that? Because at the next meeting, this is going to be the same issue, I assume with.
Personally, I'd like to have town council look at it.
Okay.
And look at the law. I don't know the law. So what do you think, Linda?
Yeah, my only concern is that they cut down all these trees and then someone comes and says, this was my property, what are you doing? So that's the thing that we want to avoid.
Right, a letter from an attorney that the client has paid to
Yeah.
represent them. I hate to use this term, but it doesn't constitute blind faith. I would like to see somebody research that on our behalf. I don't think that's asking too much, do you?
Yeah, if we could get someone just to look at it and just let us know that, yeah, this is okay.
So
Or
in the
not.
email, the assistant town manager and the town planner is aware of this. So, again, this is a mass general law statute,
Right, which should be easily verified.
which is what this letter says.
I understand that, but our independent
Oh, okay.
person would verify that.
Got it.
Is this the first public hearing for this? No, right?
No, this is, no.
This is
Which-
the second.
Yeah, I guess out of curiosity, is there any reason why a DP file number hasn't been assigned? Or you have applied for one, or?
When I looked on the online portal, it said it was waiting for the fee, but we have confirmation that DEP cashed in the fee check. So I reached out to Joe, he gave me the DEP contact person, and I don't know. It
All right,
was
so
still waiting.
yeah,
Just for the record, I'm not disputing this. I just, when somebody produces this with a Mass General law, I mean, I don't research Mass General laws for a living.
yeah, and I also, I completely agree with that. My concern is more so that, nothing's gonna come back to
Well,
us.
hence,
If,
that's why we
if
have.
they choose to go through this, then it turns out it's not their property, and they have to redo everything, I don't want that to come back on us. It's gonna be the applicant's, issue. with
At
that.
risk.
Right, yep, yeah. I don't want anything to come back at risk for us. It's, unfortunately for the applicant. But,
So I think we talked about this last time, and I understand that that provision in the wetland protection regulations would protect the commission, even if if the commission didn't know that they issued something, they can't, the provision in that regulation protects the commission from any liability. Because the commission is, again, their decisions are under the context of, okay, how does this work affect nearby wetland resource areas? It's not about property ownership.
Right.
But there is, when you do file a notice of intent, you should have if you're proposing someone to do work on someone else's property, you should have that written permission.
I think our thing was on this plan, if it was to the right, there was a section that was
Yeah.
clearly not their property. And that was the only thing that, like we said, if you produce that with not there, we would have said, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
not without a DEP, but
I just wanted to reiterate that, that's all.
but because we can't decide anything right now, that does give us opportunity to reach out to town council, and hopefully it's something he goes, yeah, of course, but who knows? We'll let that, play as is. This is a public hearing, so if anybody in the public would like to get up and make a comment, now is the time to do so, but because we are not going to decide anything right now, this will be continued to the next meeting, and there will be further time for public hearing. I'm not closing the public hearing, but at this time, I will entertain a motion to continue notice of intent for Civil Design Consultants, Inc. on behalf of First Street Residence LLC, 21st Street, Assessors Map 81, Lot 192, DEP file number not yet assigned, to continue that to the next available meeting.
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, agenda item I, enforcement order, 165 Assel Street, Assessors Map 10, Lot 30. Joe, do you have an update on this?
Yep, so the update is that I did a site visit out with the consultant that was contracted, and I asked for an update today, and I included that in the meeting packet today, so depending on when you downloaded everything, you might have it. But basically, so all the wetlands were flagged, the impact areas were flagged, so they are contracted to go out later this week or early next week to kind of survey everything and put it on a site plan, so the restoration plan, I would imagine, would be ready by February 7th, but nonetheless, progress is in the works.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to agenda item J, enforcement order 765 Whipple Road, assessors map 31, lot 57. Joe, do you have an update on this one?
I called the homeowner to be here. She said she'd be here, so.
All right. I'm thinking further discussion and
Just
maybe,
To push it down the next meeting.
yeah.
Don't get much response from these folks anyway.
Yeah, and it might be, a further, a full discussion with the commission might decide on other actions we can take. All right, agenda item K, emergency certification for Beverly Mason, 181 Vale Street, assessors map 112, lot 28. Joe, do you have any information on this?
Yes, so this was an emergency certification for the removal of, I believe, 2 trees. I would reference the document itself for the conditions associated with it. But no, I always do my site visit, see if it's a threat to human health and safety. If it is, then I issue it. I think they were suggesting removal of 5 trees and only 2 seemed like they were actually posing a threat to human health and safety.
Okay.
Any discussion on that? So they said 5 trees?
They were marked out 5 for proposed removal, but only 2 were dead, dying, decaying, and, leaning towards the house or something like that.
All right.
Okay.
Could I have a motion to ratify the emergency certification?
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think there was a motion made for agenda item J. Do you want to continue this next meeting or just continue it until?
I didn't ask for a motion for either of the enforcement orders.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about them as long as we have a full, commission next meeting, we can, I guess, if anybody would like to make a motion to continue the enforcement orders to the next meeting.
I make that motion.
Could I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Hopefully doubling up on enforcement orders is allowed, and if not, we can correct that next time. All right, agenda item L, water main replacement exemption. Joe, do you have any information on this?
Yep, so there's a proposed water main replacement project. Let's see where it is. Throughout several streets in Tewksbury. They've provided some site plans and kind of just a narrative of, what it's going to look like and what their best management practices are. They have some erosion and sediment controls marked out on their plans. So this is an exemption per state and local regulations. So they are required to provide us, site plans and just notification though, so here it is.
It looks pretty good. I certainly don't want to, stop water main replacements.
Are you sure?
We're just going to have more water to deal with.
Yeah. Have a few more intermittent streams in places. All right, sounds good. If there's no further discussion on that, we can move on to regulations discussions. Again, I'm not sure how much we want to discuss without having Evan and Dennis here, but Joe, you
I-
sent,
Just correct, I think we pretty much hashed this out, and Joe did a great job of putting this on paper.
Yeah.
I think you did a great job, because I read it like 3 times, and I was like, boy, it's,
Yeah, so basically just copies the regulation in the state. It just takes out any language that references, evidence submitted prior to 2002, and it establishes a 3-year requirement from the date of receipt that the commission would actually receive it.
right.
But
And I think that builds us in, I think everybody was pretty much in agreement that builds us in for a drought year, this, to be
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
But we'll kick it down the can, make sure we're all, I think all of us are going to agree, but let's
I
let's
would be
do it.
surprised, but if either of you want to make a motion, I'll gladly entertain it,
also, I guess,
I think
I would
Evan
love
wanted to be a
everyone here.
bit longer.
Right, I would love everyone here
All right, yeah, then let's, yeah.
to do
let's
that.
move
I think,
this
I
to-
think that's the,
Because we're already, with that letter from the state, it's already looking, I interpret that as the state's saying at least 7 years. It can't go beyond 7 years. So we're just,
well, I think they're recognizing what we
yeah.
recognized is, you can't come in here with 15-year-old photos and go, voila, there's no water there.
And this solidifies our,
Our thought process.
Yeah.
Right. It's not, as I say to people, I'm not being adversarial, I'm just trying to apply some common sense to it. We know the environment's changing, the weather's changing. I mean, I got a mad scientist who sits beside me who says that, so.
so I guess because we're talking about intermittent perennial streams, like I said, there's that regulation that doesn't provide the time frame, and Mass DEP recognizes that. They recognize that it doesn't provide a time frame. So, and when I was talking with the analyst, there hasn't been like a court case where the commission said, no, you need to provide more recent photos, and then they appealed it, and then the state said, no, you need to provide more recent photos, and then they appealed it. So that process hasn't happened yet, where it's gone all the way up to like an appellate court.
But we, as people doing our job, want to build it into our town bylaws that give us, some say in, actually a lot of say. Because that shall issue, which comes out of Mary's mouth and her boss's mouth, is repeated 10, 20 times in a meeting. This is a shall issue, a shall issue. And that's almost like force feeding. And
well, and I think to get back to the, appellate court, if we choose not to approve a application because we're not comfortable with it, and the applicant appeals our decision, the state might go, yeah, we were wrong, and you can do whatever you want, and that's the end of it. Or they might base it on something else and saying, no, the commission is totally within their rights to make this decision for this reason, and this reason, in which case, great, that hasn't happened yet.
right, we don't have case law.
Yeah,
know,
Yeah, exactly.
But this gives us a much
Yeah.
stronger foundation.
Yeah.
Is I like, my term is where you give something solid to stand on, it's like, yeah, no, let's be reasonable.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that the residents have been coming to talk about this issue, and if it was in my backyard, this is one of those times.
That's correct.
I think I'd be like, whoa, if it's up to me, I would not let that happen. Understanding that
Right, and, somebody made a comment to me about Darby Brook, about, coming out of, what is it, the pond off Helvetia.
Oh, no, that's not Long Pond.
Round one?
Round pond, it says, the beavers dam up the culvert all the time. They said if those beavers didn't dam up, he goes, there'd be a lot more water going down there, and I'm like, well, is anybody taking that into effect?
Yeah, that was part of the discussion.
Right.
That was part of, in November.
Right, of the obstructions in it, has anybody cleared that out? Is the water truly flowing unobstructed?
Exactly.
And
That was part of, yeah, that was on all November.
So,
Yeah,
the way I was looking at it is like, there is a report, I forget the exact timeline, but they cleared out a company cleared out the culvert, they removed the damage from the beavers. And it says that with routine maintenance, these things should last years. And they were just out of the recommended, like, they say to clean them out like once every 4 years, I forget what it is. And they were just like, just past that cutoff, part, which to me is like, you can drive your car a little bit past your oil change date, it's not gonna, the engine's not going to explode. But then like further discussion outside of the meeting, it's like, a lot of the time, the beaver dams, they happen overnight, like, it happens suddenly, so I don't know how much that really holds up, that logic holds up. But having something like this is much better.
right, well, it gives us a foundation, we say, okay, is there any obstructions, is there this, I mean, as I say, I just want to try to add some common sense, that's all.
It's a dangerous thing to add.
Yeah, I know.
So we can be consistent to everyone who comes in front of
Yeah.
us. We can be consistent now.
All right, so we have, if there's no further discussion on the regulations until.
Until we have all five.
Yeah,
five
until we
votes
have
here.
all five. We did table agenda item C, request for a certificate of compliance.
I would, so they didn't pay a filing fee, so, I guess to me that renders the application as not received.
All right,
So
yeah.
let's continue to the next one.
Continue it?
Could I have a motion to continue request for certificate of compliance, Mark Harrison, 140 Helvetia Road, Assessors Map 60, Lot 11, TP file number 305-1129.
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Any old business, new business, or admin reports?
No.
No. In that case, could I have a motion to adjourn?
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. I want to make a statement.